Welcome back, family, and this is my Rhode Island Comic Con recap story. So, my wife and I left on Thursday the 2nd, and we took the whole day to drive up there to Rhode Island from essentially Washington, D.C. It's about an 8-hour drive. It's not too bad, but it's not nothing. I really love the service stations and rest stops that a lot of these states have. They'll have like two or three restaurants, a coffee shop, a convenience store, and a big set of bathrooms for you to take advantage of during the trip. And a gas station. It makes it really convenient. I remember specifically not wanting to fill up in New Jersey because it's completely full service. You can't pump your own gas. I thought you had to tip them too, but I found out on our way back when we had to get gas in New Jersey, that wasn't the case. So, and it actually gave me a chance to eat my lunch in the car while not driving. So that actually turned out to be an advantage. But getting back on point. We got there Thursday night, got to our Verbo. It's like an Airbnb. And then the next morning, Katie and I went to a Panera and got some breakfast and coffee and strategized for our day, Friday, the first day. Now, this is interesting because a lot of cons are 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Rhode Island Comic Con is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And on top of that, it opens at 3 p.m. on Friday for the first day. So this was new for us. We're used to getting up and kind of getting at the facility at the convention center at like 10. But we had so much time this morning, we went to go find a copy of As You Wish by Carrie Elways from The Princess Bride because Katie wanted an autographed copy from him from there. We couldn't find one at any of the local Barnes & Nobles or bookstores, so we ordered one on Amazon to the place we were staying, and it actually got there on time. So we were able to take that. But we were at Panera planning our day, and I ended up having to pare back the amount of signatures I was getting because of some fees that I had just learned about, and it was getting prohibitively expensive. So we planned out using a spreadsheet what we were gonna get, or what I was gonna get, and we made our trip to the ATM. By that time, it was almost lunchtime, so we grabbed some lunch, and then we went back home to start like packing up, getting water bottles ready, getting my stool, getting prepped for a con. It was at this point that I was checking, and there was a lot of last-minute cancellations, including the guy who plays Neville Longbottom in Harry Potter movies, Kyle Gass from Tenacious D. I had a magazine I was going to have him sign, but that didn't happen. And a handful of others. So that was a little disappointing. But it is what it is. You know, Hollywood, timelines, illness, flights, whatever. It happens. Now, I had applied for a press badge because of Team Ohana, this channel that you're watching on, and was graciously provided that by Altered Reality. I think Altered Reality, the people that run Rhode Island Comic Con, and a bunch of other ones. And so it was a little bit confusing, but they described the press entrance between the Hilton and the basketball arena. And it said employees and press entrance. And I was expecting to see like a big sign or something like that, but it was just a nondescript. It was a descript, but it was just one gray door. And it said employees and press like on the door. And I was like, is this it? I don't know. And there was like a card reader on the outside, so I was like assuming it was locked, but I walked up and it was open. So I walked in and it was it. It was just a small, short hallway, and then a metal detector, and then a check-in table there. And then we had the very nice press coordinator, Susan, and I think her daughter or her niece, I forget, but they were there checking us in, giving us the ground rules and all that. So that was fine. No problems checking in there. I was a little surprised we didn't get lanyards. We had to buy our lanyards for $5 each. That was the first time I've had to do that at a con. Usually they provide basic ones. So I don't know. That was odd. But yeah, once we went through that metal detector, we were right there on the concourse of the basketball arena for Providence College or Providence University. And there were vendors right there. Like, on the concourses where like you get your food or go to the bathroom between quarters, or, the walkway between entrances to the basketball arena. And we walked and they were just vendors all along it. And I was just like, wow, this is odd. And it wasn't like super well lit, there was just like a bar of every once in a while of fluorescent light. And there were a few artists I saw that had like their own desk lamps that they had brought because it was so dim in there. I felt a little bit bad for those vendors, but I would come to find out because space later. But so we're here in this basketball arena, and we found one entrance, out towards the seating area where you would watch if you were watching something in the arena there, and we could look down on the floor and see, probably 20, 25 lines right there where the basketball court or the hockey rink would be. And that's where I'm going to say they're like A-list celebrities were. That's where Ron Perlman was, Christina Ricci, Katie Seagal, all the Sons of Anarchy guys, Marissa Tomei from Spider-Man and My Cousin Vinny. And then they had a bunch of like classic vehicle, like Hollywood vehicles on display there. I don't know if they were legitimate or recreations, but they had like the 60s Batmobile, Ecto-1, the Ghostbusters station wagon. They had a Jurassic Park Jeep. But the coolest thing they had down there, I don't know if you consider it a vehicle, but you do ride it, is Appa, the creature. I forget what he is, but it's a creature from Avatar, The Last Airbender. So that was really cool. And you could get up on it, but like they would charge $10 for you to get up, get a picture taken, and the $10 would go to like a charity or something. So that was cool. But after that, we went back out on the concourse and continued, and we found out that you have to take a little sky bridge from the arena to the convention center. And the convention center is where the main floor was for like Artist Alley and vendors and a lot of the celebrities that I would be getting signatures from. So we go in, you see the rows and rows and rows of vendors and stuff. It's really cool atmosphere. And I forgot that the I Dream of Jeannie lady was going to be there, Barbara Eden. I didn't get a chance to see her, but there was a enormous genie lamp in the corner, like 2 stories tall. So that was really cool. There was also an awesome X-Men display, like almost life-size of the animated series. I meant to get a picture as Professor Xavier, but I forgot. But really cool, really well done. That's something that this con had, I will say, over other cons that I've been to, is a lot of cool displays. So that is a really cool thing that they had going on. Friday was fantastic. Friday is the best. It's the least amount of crowd. The lines are fast, often 1 or 2 or even sometimes no people in line. So there was that main level, and then there was another level. There was like a half level, and then you went up another level. The half level was like a bunch of dining area where you could sit and eat, stadium food or whatever. And then you went up another half level, and then there was a big conference or ballroom there, which they split into 2. On the right side was all the photo op cells, I guess, or, area where you get your photo ops. And on the left were all the other celebrities. Mainly, the original Turtles cartoon cast was there, including April O'Neil, which was really cool. And I was able to get all of their signatures on my comic book. And you can see here. I originally asked April to use yellow, but she decided to use black on her pants, and that's probably a better choice, but I don't know. Rob Paulson, just one of the sweetest men alive. I don't know. I mean, he's just constantly saying thank you to, us to come visit him, to speak with him, share our memories with him. And I told him, back when I met him in DC, I know you've heard this thousands of times, but you were the, one of the voices of my childhood, and thank you. And he was like, the moment that I stop liking hearing that is the moment I need to get the hell out of this job, because you are what make my job possible. So, and he was just the sweetest guy. I had a Mighty Max comic that I had him sign, and we talked about that for a little bit. He was like, man, Mighty Max is so cool. Not a lot of people know about it. One of the main voices of that cast. He also played Two-Face in the Batman series. Richard Mole just passed away, so we talked about that a little bit. Just a wonderfully sweet man, and I didn't know what to expect with the other three turtles. Next, went to visit with Cam Clark, who was the voice of Leonardo. Very sweet, very friendly guy. We talked a little bit about, the show and stuff, and then I decided to show him some of my Perler bead art that I've done for the Turtles, specifically Leonardo. I don't know if he was being truthful or not, but he fooled me if he wasn't. He was, talking about how, oh, this is so cool. And he started asking me about the process and how it works. And, Katie helps me with the pattern, and then I actually execute it and, iron it and all that stuff. And this would be a recurring theme with the other two Turtles as well. So it was very cool. It made me feel very special, and he was just very sweet. So had him sign, right on Leonardo. Next up was Barry Gordon, who played Donatello. And he's not so active in the voice acting business, really, but still super sweet, super friendly. I should have had him use black ink, because purple is kind of the color of the background of the comic, as you can see. He was trying out different markers he had and leaving marks on the book. And I was like, oh, this is going to affect the CGC score. But we finally, on the third marker, he found one that worked okay, and he went ahead and signed it. But he was very friendly, very kind. So then I moved on to Michelangelo, the fourth turtle, Townsend Coleman. Short line, went quick, super friendly guy, all about it, all about the turtles. Showed him my Perler beads. He was super into it, asking about the process. Very fun. Nice signature. And then I was talking to the CGC witness that was with us about the Barry Gordon leftover marker. And we were like, well, could it be a remark? Could it just be part of a signature? I don't want it to go against the grade. And he was like, I'll take care of it. Let me have him add turtle power as a remark to it and use the mark as the part of the T. I was like, do I have to pay him again? Do I have to get in line again? He was like, don't worry about it. I'll take it. And he took it, and he went and took care of it. And I'm very thankful for that. It was two of them, actually. It was Jay and Jesus from Captured Collectibles. And I will use this little aside as an opportunity to give a massive shout out to them. They were at DC's Awesome Con as well, and we kind of got to be friendly with Jesus and his wife Roz, but we got to get friendly with even more of them. It's a pretty tight-knit, I think, mostly family operation out of Florida, but they are an awesome facilitator. They were, like I said, they were at DC's Comic Con, Awesome Con, and they remembered us from then, and they always had a witness ready to go to get signatures with me. And, Jay even gave me his phone number so I could call him from wherever I was. Rhode Island Comic Con was, very spread out. Like I was saying, we had the different floors in the convention center, but also the whole basketball arena across the way. I was in, line at the basketball arena for Ron Perlman or Katie Seagal, and, within 5 minutes, Jay came over with a bunch of other people, and they're just totally awesome. I was just going to give a shout out to JJ, Monica, Jay, Ross, and Jesus, because they're the ones I worked with mostly, and so funny, so cool, so helpful, and extremely friendly. So if you get a chance to work with them, do so. So after that, made our way back to the main floor where the vendors were, and got my Nakayama variant cover that has the original X-Men show cast on the cover. Very difficult to find, actually. Went to that, they were all in line there, and I kind of just started going down the line. So first it was Allison Seeley Smith as Storm, and then George Buza as the Beast, who I was worried would be a little grumpy, but he was just quiet. He's an old gentleman, but he had cool socks with the Beast on them. It was cool. Next up was, I want to say, Chris Potter, who played Gambit. Very reserved, friendly though. Even got a little chuckle out of it. After that was Allison Court, who played Jubilee. I kind of ripped her a little bit because she's a Buffalo Bills fan. I'm a Tennessee Titans fan, and I was talking to her about the Music City Miracle. And after she signed the comic, I asked her about that, and she was like, you got a lot of trust in me. I still have your comic books. And I was like, you're right. I waited till you signed it, but you're right. You still have my books. You could just... She was like, it'd be a shame if I accidentally dropped them. So that was funny. She was very sweet. And then, of course, Cal Dodd, Wolverine. Super cool guy. Super fun. Totally embodies, leans into the Wolverine thing. Knows, his fans love it. He was really the only one, I think, that was just like ready to jump into Wolverine's voice and talk. The other ones were kind of like, not super into that, but all very friendly. I don't ask, unless I pay someone for like a video clip, I don't ask them to like perform. It's usually me saying, I really appreciate, I love the voice, I love when, Calculon from Futurama for Maurice LaMarche. I'm not asking him to do it. I just wanted to let him know that I really love that voice. And most of the time they'll be like, well, of course you do. And they'll just like bust into character, which is awesome. It's the best way to get it. And I don't feel like I'm saying, dance, monkey, dance, Anyway, tangent. So it was at this point that we went to an X-Men animated panel. First panel for us this weekend. This is where the logistics and the buildings gets more weird for this. There is a skywalk from the convention center to the hotel across the street. It was in the hotel where most of the medium to larger panels were being held in 2 rooms there. We had to go to the bottom floor of the convention center, exit through those doors while essentially badging out, walk across the street, like a busy city street, and go into a side door of the hotel. It wasn't marked. It wasn't until we went to the front door, asked a few people, figured out, even though that it's right there, I can see them, I had to go out the front, go around the side, go in the like taxi stand door, badge in there, get metal detected again, and then I can get in line. That's not the way it should be, in my opinion. I get it because we're outside of the facility and we have the chance to get something, and when we go back in, there's the opportunity to bring drugs, fire weapons, whatever. But we shouldn't have the opportunity to exit the building and go back in for it. We should be all going through the skywalk, in my opinion. And then, when you're waiting in line outside of the conference room, the doors are wide open there. And so all of this cigarette smoke is coming in. All of this cold air is coming in. And you're just sitting there. Well, I am, because I have my stool. You're standing or sitting there cold and cigarette-y. I'm allergic to cigarette smoke. So I did not love that. I had to do that a couple times this weekend. But anyway, we go in. Pretty okay panel, the MC was fine. It had all of the X-Men that were there. The actress for Jean Grey pulled out. but also had Nightcrawler, Morph, and the producer and director Larry Houston. I didn't realize what a big deal Larry Houston was. So after this panel finished, we left, checked back in, did the whole rigmarole, and then went to go talk to Larry. We talked to him for like 20 minutes. It was awesome. He was so cool. Learned that he was involved in like pretty much all of my favorite childhood cartoons. X-Men was his baby, yes, but he worked on like the second season of the Fantastic Four, which is when it drastically improved. Batman the Animated Series, Captain Planet, a lot of the original Turtles episodes, like incredible. I got to pick his brain about animation stuff. Idiosyncrasies I noticed when like the screen when there's a bright energy blast, but everything else gets real dark, and just all kinds of random. It was great, and he was so cool, so willing to talk to us. If there was somebody behind me, I would let them go through. I'm not just going to soak up 20 minutes, but there was nobody there, so we were talking to him. Really sweet guy, and ended up adding his signature to my X-Men book too, because he made it happen. There would be no X-Men show without him. And it turns out he is a consultant on the new rebooted series. So Disney can listen to what he says, but they don't have to. So I'm going to take a moment to talk about the volunteer staff. Most of them were very, very friendly. They would chit chat with us while we were waiting in line and stuff like that. There were a few that thought, that they were, police officers maybe a little bit. Didn't appreciate their tone, but for the most part, they were nice. The food selection was rough in the convention center. There were only one or two spots that I could see to get food, and the lines were very long. They did have like 4 or 5 food trucks out front. Those lines were very long too. It is what it is, but yeah, it would have been cool if there were more food options inside the convention center. Next, we'll move on to Saturday. Saturday was nuts. Insane crowds. Thankfully, Katie and I had planned Saturday to be our panel day. I think we went to 4 panels. I didn't get any signatures, I don't think, on Saturday. But yeah, we went to Twisted Tunes. It's a panel where a bunch of prominent voice actors read from a script of Willy Wonka in different character voices. It was pretty funny, but not as funny as I would have hoped. After that, we went to a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles panel with the Turtles. And that was really cool. A lot of inside, old knowledge, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of ribbing on each other. I love those guys and April. They're so funny, they're humble, and they're kind. At the very end, they asked if we could all shout turtle power together. So we all, they did 1, 2, 3, and the whole room was like, turtle power! And it was super cool and super fun. And then to wrap the day up, we went back down to the big ballroom to see the Futurama panel. I was okay. I was a little disappointed by it because I didn't learn anything new. I would have probably rather skipped it, to be honest. I don't like when people go up to the mic just to fanboy. A lot of them are like, hey, this is so surreal, it meant so much to me. My name is Greg, I'm from Virginia. This is my first time at Rhode Island Comic Con. Like, all that stuff is just, to me, fluff. And I think it's rude to the other people that are in the audience and other people that want to ask a question, because it just wastes time. I think that stuff should be kept for the meets when you're meeting them at their booths. But that's just me. That's where you would have maybe someone run from the Rhode Island Comic Con, ask what your questions are beforehand, and approve them and stuff like that. I don't think the MC for this panel did a good job of keeping it rolling. They only answered like 3 questions, even though there was like 10 people waiting. So not a great panel. So yeah. Now I want to mention this not as a calling out, but just so I can normalize it maybe. I was super excited to meet Jim Cummings, voice of a lot of stuff, including Darkwing Duck, Hondo Onaka, tons of other stuff. It didn't feel like he was seeing me. It didn't seem like he was feeling it. I noticed it was his birthday, so I said, happy birthday, and he said, oh, thank you. I had my Darkwing Duck book, and I got Rich's Hondo Onaka book to sign. First of all, the price went up from the website, $10 per signature, and then also any sort of remark was an additional $25, which was unique to him. I didn't come across that for other people. That part I'm not super happy about, but it is what it is. But yeah, when he was signing and interacting with me, he was kind of just like looking off into the distance. He wasn't mean. He just wasn't there, really. And you can't be 100% every time you meet with people or every day. So yeah, it was a bummer for me, especially compared to the way everybody else was. But it is what it is. I'm not gonna try to not hold it against him, even though my gut reaction is like, well, he didn't make me feel special. But really, it's we're all human. Phil Lamar was the same way. I got a Samurai Jack book signed by him, and he was looking at his phone and kind of like whatever. So it is what it is. But on a positive note, John DiMaggio, super cool. I reminded him of an old bit on a podcast that he did with Billy West, and he like ran with it. He was like, oh yeah, and it was like, and he just started doing examples of it, and then he was like, that's actually the voice that I based this character off that voice from that bit. And he was talking about the king in Disenchantment. So we got a little story there, and that was really cool. I love when I can get like a unique experience with a celebrity like that. Got to meet Murray from the Impractical Jokers. He signed my Joker book. He was very friendly. He took some pictures with us. In the upper left, there's like where it says like 25 cents or whatever. This book says no cents, like no, and then the cent symbol. And he was like, I never noticed that before. I never connected that. So I felt pretty cool about that. Very nice guy. And then finally, Nolan North. Man crush. I mean, what a great guy. He was the voice of Nathan Drake in the Uncharted games, Desmond in the Assassin's Creed games, Blaze in the Monster Machines if you have kids that watch cartoons. Tons of stuff. Connor from Young Justice, a lot. So friendly. Chatted with us for a while. He, we were talking about Blaze in the Monster Machines, the kids show that we watch, and he was like, oh yeah, I've got a recording session next week for it. And then he pulled out his phone. He was like, yeah, see, here's the email. And he brought out the email from Nickelodeon Studios and was like showing us the official like casting schedule or voice recording schedule, and it was from like Nekelodeon. And I was like, man, this is such a really cool peek behind the curtain that I probably will never see, or never would have seen unless I had this conversation with him. And he was like, it was just beautiful, and he was super nice and fun, so much so that we went back on Sunday and paid for a video recording of him as Blaze talking to our boys so we can show them that. And he was just so cool, so awesome. Can't recommend meeting him enough. He's just the best. Yeah, well, this is getting a little bit long now, but to wrap it up, Rhode Island Comic Con was a bit two-sided for me. What I mean is the guests and the lines to meet them were very reasonable on Friday and Sunday, but the layout was bad. They had the 3 distinct buildings that they wanted you to scan in and out of in each direction, and by the second day I noticed people were just like saying forget this, and they were like going around the employees that were scanning people in, and there's nothing they could do about it. Even some of the staff were like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. Maybe that should be addressed. I don't know. I think they should find a facility that can handle everything they're bringing to the show in one, not 3, but maybe 2 buildings. If that means moving, outside of Providence to a different place, so be it. Yeah. But all that said, best Comic Con experience that I've had with the people that were there, how cool they were, the signatures I got, and the memories I made. Just amazing. Super cool. On that note, mahalo.